Hi, this is Karen Thaxton at marketingwords.com and articlewritingbook.com. And I want to take you through an article writing makeover today. I have a website at petinsuranceandmore.com. And this is a site that I have created for affiliate marketing purposes. Like you, I've got a lot on my plate, so I was looking for a reliable source to get articles written, and someone on a forum that I visit quite a bit recommended one of these sites that does them for $5 or $10 or whatever. And I've tried those sites before, and they really weren't all that great. Most of the time I ended up not using the articles. But then I decided that maybe this would give me a starting point. I wouldn't have to do all of the work myself. Even if it was $10 and it took some time off of the process, it might be worth it. So I gave it a shot, and the article that came back I was not all that pleased with. It was okay, but it was very shallow in its content. It was a little bit awkwardly written, and I didn't want to put it on my blog in the shape that it was in. So I decided to go through and polish the article a bit, make it more acceptable, more presentable, and I want to take you through the process that I did. Just for the record, I am not going back and using that site again. None of the sites that I've used that had the El Cheapo articles ended up being content that I was comfortable putting on my blog, and the effort that I had to put into creating a revised version of what I was given, I could have easily just used that same amount of time and written the article myself. So you can do it any way you want to. If you choose to go the cheap route, however, I do encourage you not to publish those articles as is, because most of the time they're just extremely shallow. They don't give a lot of good information. It's not really all that great for branding purposes for your name. People are going to end up associating you with having shallow, low quality content. So if you use them as a starting point, and make sure that you polish them up really nicely before you put them out to the public. The first thing I want to look at is the title of this article. Excuse me. What came back to me was how to plan for a pet emergency. Now, this article is supposed to be about how to create an emergency plan for your pets, so that in the event something goes wrong, you'll be ready. You won't be scrambling around going, it's 9:30 at night, my vet's closed, what do I do? Do we even have a pet emergency hospital in my area? You'll know where to go, what to do, and you'll save valuable time. So while how-to titles usually work really well, I thought this one sounded strange. How to plan for a pet emergency. I could see how to plan what to do in a pet emergency, but this almost makes it sound like you're planning to have a pet emergency. It just struck me as odd. So I changed the title of this article to Creating an Emergency Plan Can Save Your Pet's Life. To me, this title is more enticing, more descriptive, and more accurate than the other title was. If you look at the first paragraph, there's nothing that strikes me as curious. There's nothing that captures my attention. Everything in the first paragraph is something I've heard before. It's really stating the obvious. Now, sometimes stating the obvious can work pretty well, but not in an opening paragraph, usually. This one goes into anyone who currently owns or has owned a pet knows how important they become. They're part of our daily lives, part of our families. Emergency situations can be difficult for the pet owner. Just a bunch of fluff. And I was not pleased with it at all. I wanted something in there that would at least cause the reader to pause for a second and go, or capture their attention and hook them and make them keep reading. So I started this way. You hear stories of it every day. This is an incomplete thought on purpose. You hear stories of what every day? Because I've left the subject matter out of this sentence, people want to know what I'm talking about. And then I begin to paint some pictures. Walking out to the car, the leash breaks, and the dog excitedly jolts out in front of an oncoming vehicle. Or a woman moving a pot of boiling pasta from the stove to the sink trips when her cat gets underfoot and spills the water all over her pet. These make you go, oh my gosh, but they do keep you reading. Life can turn on a dime, and pets are often the victims of unexpected circumstances. What would you do? Do you have measures in place in case of such emergencies? If not, now's the time to get it set up. And then we lead into a section about how to do this, how to create that pet emergency plan. Now, this one was something else that was just off the wall. When I turned in the subject matter of the article to this website, I told them I wanted to walk the person reading through how to create a pet emergency plan. But one of the tips they gave is to have a pet emergency plan. Well, that's just silly. You know, you can't tell somebody in an article about creating an emergency plan that they need to have one. This section, most of it got replaced by other material. It talks about knowing the numbers and making sure that you know where your 24-hour emergency hospital is and keeping the essentials on hand. That part I kept. But I rewrote it like this. The first in how to create a pet emergency plan is put contact numbers on your fridge. Have the numbers, the business hours of the vet. If your vet has one of those refrigerator magnets with all this printed on it, great, grab one of those. Ask about their recommended 24-hour hospital. Keep the numbers, keep the essentials, a collar, a leash, carrier, medical conditions like diabetes and thyroid and what have you, so that all of that is on hand and you're ready to go in case you have a pet emergency. In the other article, let me click back over here, the second thing was to know your pet's vital signs. And this section was okay, but rather than just knowing the pet's vital signs, I wanted to take it in a little bit of a different direction. Know what's normal. It's oftentimes a judgment call when you take your pet to the veterinarian or to the emergency clinic. And pet owners that have been through this before know that you sit there and go back and forth. Is it really an emergency? Can it wait till Monday morning when the vet opens? Because it's expensive to go to the emergency room. If you know what's normal for your cat or dog, it can help you when you're making that decision. So I left in the part about checking the heart rate and the normal breath rate and your pet's basal temperature. And these are what's typical, but you still need to take yours and track what's normal for your pet in a situation where there's no stress and no emergency. And then the last thing in this is a soft sell for pet insurance, which is what the website is about. Now you will notice that if we go, let me go back up here, even in the new title, the old title didn't have it either, but you'll notice that the title of this article does not include the key phrase pet insurance. You do not absolutely have to have your key phrase in your title. It's great if you can fit it in and it doesn't ruin what you're talking about, but never sacrifice the quality of your article for the sake of the search engines. In this case, when I'm promoting this website, and the content I'm writing is more about diseases and conditions and things of that nature, then I don't want to have pet insurance in the title. I want people that are interested in helping their pets in case of an emergency to read this article. And then down at the bottom we get into invest in pet insurance, which is one of the steps in the plan to create your pet emergency. This one, I kept some of the information. Most of the second paragraph was gone. There was just information in here that was inaccurate, like this. Plans available for under $30 a month. There are plans of pet insurance plans available for way under $30 a month. I have an injury only policy on one of my cats that's $9 a month. So I didn't want people to see that and go, whoa. Now, of course, there are policies that cost 30, 40, 50, 60. You can get policies that, cost $100 a month, but you don't have to. So I wanted to correct that information. Then, in addition to that, where was the section? Oh, here it is. Although it's not a pleasant thing to think about, force yourself to consider the possibilities of pet emergencies occurring. I didn't like that a bit. I didn't want to have people force themselves. So this is what we came up with in the pet insurance section. Emergency pet care can be very expensive. It's heartbreaking yet common for pet owner to get his or her pet to an animal hospital in time for emergency care, but be unable to authorize the procedure after finding out the cost. There are many pet insurance plans available under $10 a month that could possibly prevent you from ever being in this type of devastating situation. Although it's not a pleasant thing to think about, you should consider, not force yourself, but you should consider the possibilities of pet emergencies occurring. It is typical that all pets will have at least one crisis during their lives. Amen to that. We've always had a lot of pets, and all of them have at least had one major thing go wrong in their life. Taking a little time to plan now could save your pet's life down the road. Now, something else I wanted you to pay attention to. In the bio, I am not saying Karen Thaxton is owner and creator of PetInsuranceandMore.com, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying, I'm bridging the content into the bio section or the about the author section. Not sure if pet insurance is right for you? Let Pet Insurance and More show you how to decide. Click to www whatever for a handy worksheet. Oops, I just messed that up. For a handy worksheet, videos, and more. Need to include to help you easily make a confident decision. So that's where we end the article. It doesn't say anything about me. It doesn't say anything about who I am. It just says, if you're still trying to decide if pet insurance is right for you, then click on over here and you've got all these tools that'll help you decide if it's right and what kind of policy you need. Something else. Here is the anchor text. Pet insurance is the key phrase. If you hover over it, you will see that it links to PetInsuranceandMore.com. However, I also put in this link that says www.PetInsuranceandMore.com. And the reason I did that is because people don't always play by the rules. And if somebody simply goes to one of the article directory sites or a blog that has reprinted your article with permission, and they just copy and paste it into their own newsletter or their own blog, those live clickable links probably will not follow. So when they paste it in, it's just going to be words with no links. If you have the URL in there somewhere, even if the link doesn't work, somebody can just copy and paste that into a browser and they'll still know how to find you. If you just say, not sure if pet insurance is right for you, let Pet Insurance and More show you how, and this turns out not to be a clickable link because it's been copied and pasted, then they aren't going to know what the URL for your website is. So I always like to have one anchor text link and one www link so that people can find the website regardless of whatever I do. So there you have it. An article makeover. We've gone from so-so without a lot of detailed information, and we've cleaned it up, made it more enticing, more appealing, included a little bit of a story in the beginning to get people's attention, and I think this article will work much better than the other article did. A lot of what I've been telling you here is in my ebook that I wrote for Word Tracker, the keyword research company. It's called Article Marketing: The Right Way to Build More Links, and it takes you through the anatomy of a rank boosting article, how to select topics, how to get those attention grabbing headlines, optimizing those articles, excuse me, excuse me, and where to submit, how often, and a whole lot of other information. So if you're interested in learning more about how I create top ranking and top converting articles, you can go to articlewritingbook.com and you will be able to find this article there. And of course you can see there's all sorts of information here that takes you through exactly what you're going to get and a sneak peek at this ebook as well. So articlewritingbook.com gets you what you need. Thanks so much. I appreciate your time. I hope it was helpful, and please come visit me over at marketingwords.com/blog. Leave your comments and ideas there.